All righty, ladies and gents, let's get this thing started. I apologize for a little bit of the wait there. Oh, hold on. My phone is going off for some reason. Let's not have that happen during the stream. I'm going to minimize this for a second, pull up comments. Okay, we're good. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Devils Den Hockey. Finally, it's over. Yes, the Stanley Cup playoffs are officially over. The Carolina Hurricanes successfully defeat the Vegas Golden Knights to win the Stanley Cup. It's over. The year is finally over. And with that, the offseason has officially begun. Now, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I am going to fiddle around with some stuff. I want to see if I can – hold on here. I want to see if I can try to fix this at all. I can't go full screen because then it's not going to show my comments. That's fine. This is what we're working with. I'm going to see if I can – hold on. I can't – no, I can't. That's fine. It is. It is what it is. So – the Carolina Hurricanes successfully won the Stanley Cup. And you know what? Good for them. Good for them. We're gonna give a slight round of applause to the Carolina Hurricanes for winning the Stanley Cup. So good on them. They defeat the Vegas Golden Knights in 6 games, and the Conn Smythe goes to Jordan Staal, which I figured was probably going to happen if Carolina did win the Cup. It would probably either go to Staal or Blake or even Stankoven as a dark horse wild card in there. But nonetheless, the Carolina Hurricanes are Cup champions. And Brind'Amour, with his second Stanley Cup, once as a player, once as a coach, exactly 20 years apart. So again, I'm so glad, so happy for Carolina. I'm psyched for Taylor Hall, who finally wins the Stanley Cup. If there was ever a guy to deserve to win a Stanley Cup, it's Taylor freaking Hall, who has gone from the horror and hell of the Edmonton Oilers days to come over to, who did he go to after? He came to us. He won the Hart, good for him, and then he goes to Boston, finds a little success there, goes to Carolina, helps his team, the team gets built, and Carolina, Stanley Cup champs. Good on them. So, here's what I've got for tonight. I figured we'd talk a little bit about Carolina winning the Cup. Then I figured we would talk and actually do a deep dive into the Stanley Cup. I mean, not Stanley Cup, into the roster for New Jersey. See whose contracts are ending, see whose contracts are coming up, and see what changes that we can make to make this team better. Yes, Justin, you're absolutely right. So, rumored Devils are shopping Markstrom. Yes, I have heard of that. And I am very interested to see if this has any teeth, or whether or not this is just complete bullshit. I don't think it's bullshit, but I think it's going to be very difficult for Meta to try to move Markstrom. This guy is getting $6 million a year, and in his new contract, if I can try to pull this up here, in his new contract with the Devils, he still has a modified no-trade list, meaning he still has 20 teams on his 20-team no-trade list, which means only 11 teams in the entirety of the NHL are going to be able to take Markstrom. That's going to be an uphill battle for Meta. He's coming off a terrible season. He's coming off of a terrible contract, modified no-trade list. I don't know who's going to want to take this. I really don't know who's going to want to take this in the NHL. Markstrom next to the Trebuchet. You goddamn right he is. Him and Hamilton. Hamilton, and potentially Meyer are next for the Trebuchet. I am going to The minute I can monetize this channel, we're going to put out shirts with a trebuchet on it with like New Jersey in the background. I thought that would be sick. But yes, next with the trebuchet is most likely going to be Markstrom if they can move him. If they can move Hamilton, Mercer's probably gone. Let's be real with that. I'm on the fence. Hold on, I need to click the actual comment here. I'm on the fence about Markstrom. Yeah, he does need to go, but who do we replace him with? I'm totally fine. I am totally content with Alan Dawes as the goalies this year. If we can't land anybody else, I would be totally fine with running the tandem of Alan Dawes. I genuinely think Dawes needs an actual Dawes needs his time in the NHL. He needs to. He's been sitting in the AHL for way too long. He needs the slice of life in the NHL to actually do something and to prove himself. Allen, I think, has proven himself as a legitimate option for starting goaltender. I know some people have other options. For example, Hellebuck. Connor Hellebuck has mentioned that he wants off of the Jets. He has put in for an official trade request. But like Larkin, he has a 3-team list that he wants to go to. Tampa, Florida, Vegas. That's who he wants to go to. I would be incredibly interested to see if he gets to go to any of these teams. Tampa, let's be honest, he's not going to. Let's just be 100% realistic here. He's not going to Tampa after Vasilevsky just won the Vezina. Let's be entirely real about that. Vasilevsky just won the Vezina. There's no way in hell he's going to Tampa. I don't imagine Hellebuck wanting to just be a backup behind Vasilevsky. Him going to Florida with an aging Bobrovsky, maybe, but I feel like Florida is going to have to go through not quite a rebuild, but definitely a retooling, and that could take a year or two. And I think Hellebuck wants to go to a team that wants to win immediately. I think Hellebuck wants to go to a team that's going to be a contender, which brings us to his last option, and that's to go to Vegas. Vegas with Carter Hart, with Schmidt, and I can't remember who else in the pipeline. I don't know. I don't know what Vegas's option is. Out of those 3 teams, I can see Hellebuck going to Vegas the most. They still have cap space. They've got contracts that are coming due. They made it all the way to the Cup final and lost in 6, so they're definitely going to want to take another shot at the Cup final. And adding Hellebuck as a goaltender would be, I think, great for them. Austin, do you trust Allen as a starter? Yeah, I do. I think that Allen has more than earned it. I think Allen has put in way more consistent effort than almost any New Jersey goalie in the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, bar none. Besides Schmidt, who actually won us a playoff series, Markstrom, who's done nothing, and all of our other goaltenders that have come and gone, I think that Allen has absolutely earned at least a year at starter. See if he can handle the workload. Again, I'm not opposed to going after another goalie. And if Hellebuck does want off of Winnipeg, New Jersey should potentially take a stab at him. But again, I think if Allen wants the starter crease, I think it's totally his. I don't know how you're going to move Markstrom. I really don't. Only 11 teams. I say again, only 11 teams he can be traded to in the entire NHL because of his modified no trade list. He just signed a $6 million deal. We're going to have to retain probably at least half of that, if not more, to ship Markstrom off. He is an aging, older goaltender coming off, I would argue, a career low performance in net. So I really don't know what happens from here. I don't know what happens. Meta is going to have to work some of that sunny magic in order to actually make something happen here, but I think Allen should at least get the opportunity to go for starter because I think he's earned it. Especially after signing a team-friendly deal last year, I think giving him the opportunity would be great. Sorry, guys. I can already feel my throat going with 13 minutes in. Do you think they should buy out Markey? I think that's an absolute last resort. I'm just looking at New Jersey Devils contract situation here. And New Jersey currently has just shy of $11 million to play with. You buy out Markstrom, you're going to have to burn over half of that amount of money to get rid of Markstrom. And you just signed his contract. Actually, hold on. When you buy out a player, do you have to buy out his entire contract or just the contract for the year that he signed? I would imagine you'd have to pay out for his entire contract because you can't sign a guy to like a 7-year deal. He has one bad year, and then you only pay him for the upcoming year. I can't imagine that happening. So if we have to buy out Markstrom, it's going to take all of the cap. So no, I don't think we should buy out Markstrom. I'm gonna reverse that. I'm going to say if buying out Markstrom is going to require $12 million from the Devils to do so, no. That takes up all your cap space. It eliminates everything. Because if you want to buy out Markstrom, that's fine. That's something you could do. But then unless you're getting rid of 1 to 4 guys' contracts to make any legitimate moves to make your team better, I think a trade is probably just better. And again, I think if you trade him, retain half his salary, take the $3 million hit, you still have $8 million to play with. And you can still move other guys. So we'll see what happens here. So I want to go through this. I've got in front of me Puckpedia, New Jersey Devils. As of right now, the New Jersey Devils have $10,902,500 to play with. Okay? As of right now, we have a ton of guys, thanks to Fitzgerald, who either cannot be moved or are going to be incredibly hard to move. So let's lay that out, shall we? Timo Meier has a no-move clause, meaning even if you want to trade him, you can't unless he gives his say-so. He is currently being paid $8.8 million, so almost $9 million. Jack, which obviously you're not getting rid of, he's being paid $8 million. He has a 10-team no-trade list. Chester Bratt has a no-move clause, meaning, again, same thing with Meyer. You can't get rid of him unless he gives his say-so. Nico Hischier, who, let's be honest, is getting a new contract. He has a 10-team no-trade list. Connor Brown has a no-trade clause, meaning he cannot be traded without approval. Stefan Nason, who literally still isn't playing, has a 17 no-trade list. Okay? That's all for your forwards. Dougie Hamilton cannot be moved unless you get his approval. Brett Pesce can't be moved, which I'm totally fine with, without player approval. Brendan Dillon has a 10-team no-trade list. Jonathan Kovacevic has a full no-trade clause. And Jogan Siegenthaler has a 10-team no-trade list. So, we are locked in here. We are locked in with a lot of this roster unless Meta can make some magic to move literally any guy that's worth moving that's going to give you cap space. Could the Devils buy out Hamilton? You could. The issue is, so he right now he's got 2 years left on his contract, $9 million apiece. In order to pay him out, you would have to pay out about $18 million. Again, if I'm doing the math right. The Devils do not have $18 million to play with. They just don't. So, in my opinion, you should just trade him. You might have to take a cap hit, but, you're not buying Hamilton out. Another rumor, the Habs want Nico. This is a rumor that has been going around for, 4 years now where every offseason the Habs say we're getting Nico. You're not getting Nico Hischier. You're not getting him, okay? If I smell even a whiff, of Nico possibly being moved, I am flying down to New Jersey and I am in a video game, hypothetically, throwing a Molotov cocktail through the Prudential Center windows. It's not happening. They need to shake up this decor, way too expensive and not enough puck moving. I agree. This defense is horrible. This defense is god-awful, okay? Okay? Here are, in my opinion, the only safe defensemen for this upcoming year. In my opinion, the only ones that we should keep and worth keeping around are Luke Hughes, Brett Pesce, Simon Nemec, and maybe Dylan. I think it's fine to throw Kovacevic out the window. I think it's fine to load up the Trebuchet and put Jonas Siegenthaler in there. I think Dougie Hamilton probably needs to go. Granted, that's only going to leave you with Luke, Brett, possibly Dylan, and Nemec. You need 2 other defensemen. This is where you give the opportunity to Seamus Casey to play on the bottom pair. If we want Casey to actually be a legit NHL defender, you need to give him time playing in the NHL. 4 games is not going to cut it. Give this man 20 games. Put him on the bottom pairing. Do what you have to do. But for the love of God, either put him in the NHL or get rid of him. But like this on again, off again, maybe you play, maybe you won't. Like it has to end. Like it's unfair to him, and we're kneecapping ourselves by not being able to. Dougie is movable. No need for a buyout. Yeah, I think he's movable. By the way, I feel sorry for Mitch losing at home in a 3-0 shutout. Yeah, I feel bad for him too. I don't know if you guys know this. I was rooting for Mitch Marner. I wanted Mitch to lift the cup. I wanted Mitch to win the Conn Smythe. I really did. Unfortunately, Vegas decided to play like absolute dog shit for the last 2 games of the Cup final, and nobody outside like Dorotheev showed up. Not Stone, not Eichel, not Marner, not nobody. Nobody showed up except for Dorotheev. And the last game, he got shut out. They got nobody but themselves to play. They should have done better. But Hamilton doesn't want to move. Well, tough shit. Tough shit. You're moving. Get out. Be gone. Be gone. Be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone. Here's the issue, right? There's a lot of guys that have no move clauses or have full no trade clauses. These guys are going to have to be convinced to waive those. If Meta is not able to convince other people to waive their clauses, then this team is staying the same for at least the next 3 to 4 years. Because you can't have guys. You cannot run this team back year after year after year with the same goddamn results. And because Tom Fitzgerald has royally this team up for not being and giving out all these, NMCs and NTC clauses all day long, Sonny Met is going to have to convince somebody to go. It's got to happen. The lack of a number 1 D-man is a problem. I agree, but I think when you've got guys like Nemec and Hughes is obviously, we all want Hughes to become the number 1 D-man. And I think in the next 2 years, Luke has got to step up. And it's not that he hasn't already. 35 points in 70 games is not bad for a defenseman. But somebody has got to come out of this young defensive lineup that we can actually count on, because I really don't want to have to go shopping for another number one defenseman, because that's going to put us back to the days where we went hunting for Hamilton. Luke needs to take a massive step. Yeah, I agree. I agree Vegas was complete shit the last 2 games. Eichel was a big no-show. Absolutely. I mean, nobody showed up. Nobody showed up. Unfortunately, I think Nemitz gets moved. I think that's probably likely. I think that's a mistake. I really do. I think there's guys with better value on the team that can be offered up as trade bait, that we don't have to get rid of Nemitz. Because basically what we're saying, if we're saying we have to get rid of Nemitz, what we're saying is we have given up on the development of young defensemen. And then that means we are going to have to go out shopping for more defensemen in a offseason that is absolutely dog shit when it comes to UFAs, which means more guys are going to have to be convinced to relinquish their no-move clauses and no-trade clauses to fill in the holes that I think Nemitz is going to leave. I genuinely think that getting rid of Nemitz is a mistake. I think it's a grave mistake. And so help me God, if Nemitz is gone this offseason, which likely will probably happen, if Nemitz is gone and Siegenthaler and Kovacevic and Hamilton are still on this goddamn team, I am going to go ballistic. I'm going to go bananas. Because you're really going to tell me that we trust Jonas lay on the ice Siegenthaler and Jonathan, I just showed up Kovacevic, and Dougie, I shit my pants Hamilton over Nemitz? Over Nemitz. Okay. I like Eichel a lot, but I saw a lot of people saying he's the best 200-foot center in the league, and I disagree. He's not. He's not. He is not the best 200-foot center. My argument against that would be go look at McKinnon. Go look at McKinnon. Look how he got injured. Go look at how McKinnon got injured in the Western Conference Final. He's literally blocking shots as a defensive forward, and that's how he got injured. I don't see Eichel taking a slap shot. I don't see Eichel laying down the body to block shots. I see McKinnon, though. Barkov is the guy for me. Barkov's great. Barkov, you'll get no disagreement here. Barkov's a great player. I mean, there's a reason he's up for the Selke almost every year. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over again and expect something different. Yeah. And right now, the way the Devils are looking, that might be the case. Again, we all have to wait and see and chill a little bit to see what Meta does. I'm not expecting anything super crazy. I'm not expecting him to turn this team around into legit playoff contenders in a single year. I think this is a 2 or 3 year project. Nemitz is still a big problem defensively. His positioning is awful, and he needs to learn to keep his stick on the ice. Sure. I don't think that's a Nemitz problem. I think that's a literally everybody problem. Watching Hamilton and Siegenthaler and Kovacevic and Dylan and everybody else with their sticks in the air. But yeah, I think Nemitz has an issue with pinching. I think he wants to join the rush so badly and score goals. I think he gives up a lot at times defensively, but I would still trust him over most of the guys that we've got at this point. Too many times Nemitz is skating with his stick in the air, not boxing out. Yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Nemitz has problems. But I will say this in Nemitz's defense. For the first 3 to 4 years of his time in New Jersey, after he got drafted, he was stuck in the AHL. He did not get legit NHL time until the last, year and a half? So I'm willing to give him the space and the ability to grow and go from there. Instead of just, he's not good now, so we got to get rid of him. I think you got to give him time. I mean, Luke this is what he's going into what his 4th, 5th year with the Devils, full time in the NHL. I agree with you, and I want to be clear. Like I totally get where people are coming from. My problem is that like a lot of the times, a lot of the criticisms for Nemitz can also be applied to Luke, and Luke has had substantively more time in the NHL to develop and get used to this stuff. And I don't see the same criticisms of Nemitz that I see being levied to Luke, despite the fact that I think a lot of the times they both share similar problems. I agree. Fitz screwed the Devils. Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to say otherwise, right? The amount of money that is locked in to guys that cannot be moved. If I were to go through and actually write down the amount of money that we have locked behind NMCs and NTCs, I guarantee you it would be over $40 million. I guarantee you. Do you think it's a tank year for the Devils, or at least try to the playoffs? This cannot be a tank year. You had your tank year, which was this year. If the Devils tank again next year, I think people are going to start coming for everybody's heads. I think you're going to see Heischer, Bratt, Meyer, everybody coming for their heads. I don't. New Jersey cannot tank again. I think this year has got to be return to the playoffs. I don't even care if they get past the first round. They need to get into the playoffs, because it is unacceptable that a team that is as good as we are on paper, and I understand that there's a difference between on paper and on the ice. There's no reason, there's no justification for the Devils to have finished anywhere near where we finished this year. It's an absolute joke, and it cannot happen again. I gotta go back to where the comments were. Oh my God, the amount of missed draft picks really killed us. Yeah, I mean, Holtz turned out to be a bust. Nemitz gets drafted and then isn't used for 3 or 4 years. I don't know. Do you think the Devils keep Dawes? I would like to. If the plan is to get rid of Markstrom, then you're either bringing in a top-tier NHL goaltender or you're using Dawes. And I think to give the Devils utility and versatility, I think you should keep Dawes. I trust Sonny, but he needs time to fix the Devils. Yeah, I agree. I'm saying that. How you doing, buddy? How's it going? Believe me, I'm not high on Luke. Right now, his decision-making is still not good. Way too many D-zone mistakes, but his offense hasn't popped like we expected. I agree. Now, I'll say this. 35 points in 70 games is not bad. It's not horrible. That is a point every other game. And what's crazy to me is that Luke Hughes has more points as a defenseman than Timo Meier did in goals. That can't happen. That cannot happen. You cannot have a defenseman finishing with 35 points on the year, and Timo Meier's got less goals than he does points. It can't happen. For what we were sold, it cannot happen. 2 7th-place finishes in the past 3 years is disgusting. Agreed. You'll find no disagreement here. I'm all right. I'm just coming off of being a little bit sick. My voice is still pretty strained, but we've got water, so we're chugging along. Who do you hope the Devils pick with their pick this year? That's a good question. I have not done my due diligence on the draft pool this year, but in my opinion, I think it would best serve the Devils to simply trade the pick away to get a legit talent. I don't think that just drafting another guy 12th overall in the draft is going to instantaneously make this team better. And I think the Devils have a 3 to 4 year window to push for a legit cup. As Hischier and Bratt and Hughes and everybody else is starting to push 30 years old. And in 3 or 4 years, we're going to have guys that are 32 to 34 years old. So the Devils need to be acting now instead of waiting, drafting a guy and then waiting around to see if he pans out, given the fact that our draft history has not been great. Jury from the Rags told players to either waive their no-move clause or go down to the minors. He got Trouba and Kreider off the books. Yeah. That is the thing he did. Here's a question for you, though. Did it make the Rangers better? Did it make the Rangers better? Because I agree. Drury did the right thing by kicking off, getting rid of Trouba and Kreider, especially Trouba. Trouba shouldn't be in the NHL. That's just me sounding off. I'm glad, good for him that he was able to get both those guys off the books, but Rangers are in a way worse position than we are. They're looking at a full team rebuild because they are falling apart. They are gone. Definitely need to get a top 6 talent and help on defense. Honestly, hot take, I would rather see a legit defender than a top 6 forward at this point. Let me put it this way. I think that our offense is like the engine in a sports car. I think that sometimes it backfires, and I think sometimes it doesn't run the way you want it to. But when it runs, it runs, okay? And you are out-competing and outscoring and outpointing every single other race car on the track, okay? On the other hand, our defense is like driving a regular car with 2 out of the 4 wheels with no air in it. In this metaphor, Hughes and Nemitz and Pesci are the 2 wheels that are keeping this defense from totally collapsing. And everybody else is the no air in your tires that are dragging us down. And if we're not careful, the other wheels are going to deflate and we're not going to be able to move. Sure, you can get the engine to run, but if you can't move the goddamn car, what use is it? Goalie should be a top priority for the Devils too. Yeah, I think that's something that we probably need to look at the next year or two. I do want to see what Allen does as a starter, though. I legit think so. They need to get rid of this losing mentality. How do you do that? Is it a coaching change? Is it the coach coming down and saying, look, you're not playing well, your ass is riding the bench. Your ass is riding the bench. Is it Meta coming into the locker room and says, guys, you have this year. You don't produce, you're gone. And I would like to see both. I want to see Keith. I don't know how much Toronto hockey games you watch, but when Keith was with Toronto, this guy was yelling at his players all the time. He showed a fire that I absolutely loved. Now, this man stands behind the bench with no expression. Look, the players need to get themselves motivated. Number one, players have to be held accountable to themselves, but if they're not going to get their ass in gear, Keith needs to do it for them. And if Keith isn't going to do it, then as far as I'm concerned, his ass can be on the trebuchet as well. I think Keith should be given until December. If he does not pan out this year, And we're still seeing the same issues over and over and over and over again. And we're in the bottom of the East again come December, come Christmas. Trebuchet, adios. You're gone. We'll get someone that can do your job. I like Keith. We can't keep going around in circles every single year. Too soon to say, but I have a feeling Babcock is not going to help Edmonton make the cup next year. There's no shot. You can take my comment to the bank. Edmonton will not be in a cup final for at least another 7 to 8 years. You can take that to the bank. There's no evidence I've seen of Edmonton getting deep into the West right now, especially with upcoming teams like Anaheim and San Jose. I don't see it. And if Minnesota ends up picking up more guys and Colorado continues to be how they are, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I hope they trade the pick. We need a top 6 guy. This team doesn't score enough goals. They definitely didn't score enough goals this year. But I'll remind people, 2 years ago, Nico Hischier had 40 goals. It's not that this team can't score. It's that right now there's something wrong that's not letting them score. And I'm not trying to take agency from them because at the end of the day, if you don't score, what use are you if you're a forward? But, it's not like this team doesn't have firepower. It does. Nico is great. Brad can have 100-point years. Zach can have 100-point years. Meyer needs to step it up, and now he should be hitting a minimum of 30 goals a season. I think they're 31st in 5v5 scoring. That's insane. I agree. It is insane. It is insane. But I think it's a system problem. I think that Keith needs to change the way this team plays. We play our best scoring off the rush. This passing, cycling shit is not Devils hockey. It just isn't. Play to your strengths. Play to your goddamn strengths. Allen is not a starter. I'm sorry to break it to you. He's a backup. I'm a Habs fan, and I would say that. He's not a good starter. I know what he is. It's not that I think he's a bona fide starter, but if someone were to ask me, would I rather Allen a starter or Markstrom, I'm taking Allen every time. I think that Allen, and I've said this before in previous videos, not just in live streams, but in actual recorded content, that I think Allen is arguably one of the most criminally underrated goalies in the league, but by a large margin. If any Devils fans want to go back and watch some of the games where Allen is playing, this man is the reason that we came out of games winning a goal or two more, because he stood on his head every single night that he was in net. I would again, Allen is a Band-Aid solution to a larger problem the Devils have to deal with. But I feel way more confident in Allen playing 40 games a year than I would Markstrom playing 20. I do not want to see Markstrom in that. I can't do it. Need to shake up this roster. Dylan admitted the locker room was a mess. What's going to change this year? A GM that's competent. A GM that's competent that's not going to make the rest of the team feel like shit and make them feel like they don't have a place here because he's trying to run around to complete his Hughes set. I think that from everything I've read, from all the articles, it seems like trying to complete the Hughes trio made a lot of guys feel like they were not important. If you do not make your guys feel like they are important or feel like they are a legit contributing factor to the team, why the hell should they go out there and try for you? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we shouldn't go get Quinn Hughes, but prioritizing the Hughes trio every single day that you're in office, it makes everyone else feel like they don't deserve a spot. I think that's a huge problem. Allen's a great backup. That's his role. He can't be a number one. Yeah, I'm not arguing Allen should be a number one. I think that right now I would trust him more as a number one for this year, but obviously Allen should not be the number one for like the next 2 or 3 years. He's a Band-Aid solution. TJ, how you doing, buddy? Happiest news to hear that Meta is not messing around and is trying to trade Markstrom. Yeah, thanks. Great. Wonderful. Have to get Jack Hughes some help. Yeah, I don't disagree. But Jack Hughes is also a battering ram himself. And one of the things I don't want people to forget is that up until the Olympics, Jack didn't contribute much. Sure, he was injured, and sure there's the Chicago cut, but he's gotta be better. He's gotta be better. I'm glad he was an absolute firebrand, an absolute superstar post Olympics. But I do have to question, like, where were you the rest of the year? Fitz really had to screw us with one last awful con before leaving the marquee. Yep. I think with the limited trade assets we get, best is a 1-for-1 trade with Nemitz for William Eklund. I don't see why the Sharks would trade Eklund. I don't. Again, not going to complain if we get him, but I don't see. I don't know if William Eklund is like the piece that makes this better. Oilers need better defense and forwards and good goalies. So basically what you're saying is Oilers need a better team just overall. Anaheim, San Jose, and Chicago. Yeah, Chicago I feel like isn't quite the threat yet, but they definitely will. 27th in the league in scoring last year. I agree. Again, I don't disagree with you. They are awful. They are right now, last year, awful in scoring. But it's not that they don't have the ability to be good scorers. They can be good scorers, but like you've got to change the way they're being played. Got to be Nemeth and Eklund, unfortunately. Maybe. Yeah, it's a bad team. Austin, Sonny needs to hold players accountable, win or you're gone. I agree. And I think that's the culture change that everyone's talking about, that everyone wants to see, right? You're not pulling your weight? Trent Duchesne's outside waiting for you. Not unfortunate would be a welcome great addition. Not the number one target, but helps us out. Love the rush game. The problem is they can't be so one-dimensional. Teams are able to take away the neutral zone and their speed, and we have no answers. Yeah, that's another big problem, right? You want to score on the rush, which I think is our one of our greatest strengths. But if you do the same thing over and over again, eventually teams figure you out, and I think that's what happened a lot of the times the last year or two. The question is, can New Jersey can conform and make a better system and find something that's going to let these guys play with speed that's not going to be so one-dimensional? I think he was handcuffed by Fitz. He said he knows how to fix his team, but realistically, there's a lot they do not tell the media. They play very close to the vest. Yep. Keith, I think, was absolutely handcuffed by Fitz. I think the way that Fitz basically said, hey, this is how you're going to play this team, and you don't really have a lot of options or wiggle room to do that. And I think that's kind of why Keith seemed a little passive at times, because it was like, dude, I don't have the control that I want. But again, we have Sonny Meta this time. So starting in October, we'll see if this is a Fitz problem with Keith or if it's just a Keith problem. You got to add for Eklund. Can't do Nemitz. There has been hold on. You got to add for Eklund. Can't do Nemitz. That has been proven alone for Eklund. Nemitz plus your pick this year plus another asset? Maybe. They have to be able to forecheck, play below the dot, sustain ozone pressure. We can't seem to do any of those things. Yeah, I agree. You know what would really help to sustain ozone pressure? If the power forward in us actually dug in the corners. If the power forward is being paid almost $9 million, would actually be a power forward and would actually use his body to do big things. You know that Jack is being knocked off the puck because he is brittler than an osteoporosis grandma. I'm okay with adding muscle up front, but it's got to be muscle that actually scores. Meyer is a waste, terrible trade. Yeah, I don't think he's been anywhere near what I think we all wanted him to be. I have done this on Puck GM. Most Sharks fans think the 1-for-1 swap is fair. I think we add a second rounder to try to tack on Philip Bystead as we need a better bottom six center. Yeah, the bottom six is not. Bottom six is okay. The bottom six is okay. Glass Brown, Gritziuk, which I'd like to see him get some top six time as well, but we definitely need something for that fourth line. I know Markstrom has his contract, but do you think it's a make it or break it season for him next year? The question is he even going to be here next year? Because if the rumors are correct, that Meta is sorry, because I'm trying to fix my camera here. There we go, it's better. If the rumors are that Markstrom is getting traded during this offseason, as Meta seems to be shopping him, we'll see. If Markstrom does not do well this year and he ends up staying, he has to. It is a make it or break it. You either perform or you're gone. But again, I would say that for I think a lot of guys on this team. This team feels too repetitive, too many small skilled, undersized players. I think there's a way for those small, skilled players to find their niche and be really, really good in this league. My immediate mind goes to Martin St. Louis for Tampa, who won them a cup with Le Cavalier. And Martin St. Louis is a small, skilled player. Another guy that comes to mind is Elias. He was a smaller guy, and yet he's arguably one of the foundational pieces that made the Devils such a threat. Too many playmakers, no real shooters. Yeah, I agree. Shoot the goddamn puck. Shoot the goddamn puck. Stop passing it along and cycling the goddamn puck. Shoot. You have all of these guys. That can score. You have all of these guys that can have 30 to 40 goal seasons. Why are we cycling the puck? Shoot the goddamn thing. But Eklund's a solid second liner, while Nemitz is more of a top four. I mean, he is. But again, hold on. I'm going to look this up. Hold on. Eklund's been in the league for how long? Hold on. Eklund's been in the league for how long? So he's been in the league for 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's been in the league longer than I thought he has. So he's played 3 real seasons. First season, 45 points in 80 games played. Not bad. Next year, 58 points in 77 games. And the next is 53 points in 78 games played. I'm not even going to bother looking at his plus minus. He plays for San Jose, so they're going to get shelled a lot of the time. It's not a bad idea. But again, I think a lot of people, if New Jersey is in a win now mode, right? If New Jersey wants to be a cup contender 3 years down the road or 2 years down the road, is the Eklund trade going to be the thing that makes it or breaks it, that keeps us from a second round or a Eastern Conference final? I as of right now, I am not convinced, but what targets do you want the Devils to go and get? Tell us positions and what players you want on the team that would fit the Devils. That's a good one. That is a really good one. So, there are a few guys that I've kind of had my eye on. I really wanted to go for Rantanen back when he was available. I really thought that New Jersey could go after a guy like Marner. Because I think he's phenomenal. But as of right now, you really want to go for a guy that has proven potential. Probably someone between 28 to 30 years old. You probably want someone up front that has a proven track record of scoring 30 goals a season. And then go from there. Like I said, I don't have like a specific list of names because I think a lot of the guys that we want to go for are probably already locked up long term. But we'll see. this offseason, there's not a whole lot to go after in terms of UFAs. I think a lot of it's just going to have to be, trading pieces and kind of going from there. Nemeth can be top pair once developed. Sharks are obviously not in the contention window just yet, so the development is key, especially if they draft Chase Reed. Chase Reed would be a fantastic fit for the Sharks. They need defense and need to add defense to help us offseason. Tell me about Chase Reed. I'm not familiar with him. Eklund is projected to be moved because of the luxury of the Sharks having a boatload of forward prospects on top of the second overall pick with Stenberg or Chase Reed ested. Again, I am not opposed to getting Eklund. I'm not opposed to it. If we want to go out and get Eklund, that's fine. I just think it has to be Eklund and somebody else. They want to get young defenders in their system. Yeah. So I see why Eklund for Nemeth is a thing. So Eklund to many Sharks fans is expendable for defense. Exactly. Trade Eklund for young defense and solid to add to the decor. Dadonov got a $500,000 bonus and Dev sustained cap penalties for next season. Great. Wonderful. Love this. Hate it. Hate it all. Dadonov didn't even have a point. I'll remind people, Dadonov did not register a single point this year. Yeah, they need heavy skill. Yes, that is why many fans believe the 1-for-1 is an even deal. Yeah, I think our defense is in such a shambles, man. I really do. I've got this weird feeling that Nemeth is going to go for Eklund, that we're going to be able to score, but then we're never going to be able to keep the puck out of the net. So we're going to have all this firepower, and it's going to be like 5-5 every game. I don't agree 1-for-1. Dadonov was a waste, absolutely. Eklund, ALR proved, Nemeth hasn't. I mean, I get where you're coming from. I think Nemeth needs a year or two. I truly think Nemeth can be like one of the best defensemen on this team. Because of how long he was kept in the AHL, I want to try to give him his dues. But again, if Meta wants to go for a win now, then yeah, you trade Nemeth. They need a big physical fourth line that can forecheck, hit, and chip in a little bit of offense. Yeah, I agree. I think that's what your fourth line is for. Your fourth line is to go out there and lay some big hits, wear the team down. I'm even okay with having like your fourth line start games and just start running people down cleanly and wear them down. I mean, you look at Paul Maurice on Florida. When they were playing, I think, Toronto or almost everyone, you can hear Paul Maurice saying, you go out there, you hit the living shit out of them, and you wear them down all game. So that's really is what your fourth line is there for. Marty St. Louis, now the head coach of the Habs. Yes, he is, and what a great job he is doing with them. Elias has that dog in him, though. Yeah, he did. He did. And I want to see snarl. I want to see bite. I just don't want us to bring in muscle that contributes nothing but that. Awesome. The season starts in September. This year is going to be 84 games. I thought it was starting early October like it usually is. Again, if it's 84 games, that's fine. That's more hockey for me. I'll take it. Elias just not afraid to hit the body. I agree. Jack and Bratt need someone whose size who's going to open up ice for them and be able to retrieve pucks. So basically a guy to go into the corner, use the body, throw it around, get the puck, and get it to them. Yeah, that's fine. I want more than a body. Like I don't like players that are just physical. I think they need to get points as well. I'm putting Mercer in trade. Yeah, I think Mercer needs to go. I think we've given him enough time. This guy's been with the Devils for 4 or 5 years, and he's hit his cap. He's a third line player. That is a guy you add. If you're going for the William Eklund trade, I think that's another piece you could possibly go for. Mercer needs to go ASAP. He cannot be in the top 6. Agreed. Mercer can't drive play, not a great shot, not physical. I think a change this year would be good for him. Yeah, I think that's true. I think it would be good for him to I think it would be good for him to go somewhere else, get a little bit of fresh air, get a fresh start somewhere. Because I feel like he's hit his wall with New Jersey. It's really too bad because if you go back far enough, if you go back like a year or two, I was totally on the Mercer bandwagon. I love Mercer. He's one of the few guys that never takes a day off. He's playing every single game. He's got his own little Iron Man streak going, and he was always nice, but the guy caps out super hard at 20 goals a season, and we need more than what we're getting from him. A Zach Hyman would be a good type of guy. Zach Hyman's really interesting because I think Zach Hyman could do some legit damage on New Jersey. The 1 year he had 40 or 45 goals, all he did that year was stand in front of the net and knock in garbage type goals. And you know what? I'm here for it. Let Jack and Bratt and Heischer and Meyer just fire pucks to the net, 7 shots a night for each of them, and then let Hyman sit in front of the net and just bat pucks into the net when they come out. I believe Mercer can be expendable for Sebastian Cossa once you move on from Markstrom, if that is Sonny's plan. I am not familiar with I think you guys have mentioned Cossa before. Exactly. Where is our net front guy? Well, our net front guy was supposed to be Meyer because he's a power forward that sits in front of the net and bullies people, but he hasn't done it. He hasn't done it at all. Sorry, I don't mean to shit on Meyer. I'm not trying to shit on Meyer too much. It's so annoying when you get a guy that comes off a 40-goal season who is advertised as this power forward that's gonna take shit to you and throw the body around, and then he comes over to the Devils and he gets 20 goals a season. He doesn't throw the body. He's just kind of there. I don't know. Let's run back Mikey McLeod at this point. Will never happen in a Rainbow Nation, but one can dream. Yeah, you're never bringing McLeod back to New Jersey for obvious reasons. The PR alone would have you crucified. I agree with Ace. # bring Brady to New Jersey. So here's the thing. What is New Jersey's goal? What is New Jersey's goal? New Jersey's goal is to make the playoffs. And then once you're in the playoffs, make a deep run. What was Brady Tkachuk's playoff point contribution this year? In 4 games, how many goals, how many assists, how many points? It was 0. In 4 games, he did not score a single goal. He did not have a single assist. He did not have a single point. Instead, he racked up 7 penalty minutes. So every game he was in the box, and he contributed little to nothing. If Brady Tkachuk, if people want me to get on the Brady Tkachuk bandwagon, I need to see a guy that's going to contribute in the playoffs. I do not want to be the Leafs, where we have a guy that scores 70 goals a season and then doesn't show up in the playoffs. I don't want to have all of this money invested in a handful of guys for them to basically do nothing once the playoffs arrive. I need something more. I need something more than that. Only when Timo plays for Switzerland, he plays hard. You could argue that maybe he's not being played correctly on New Jersey, which I've heard a lot of comments about that. But at the end of the day, whether or not you're being played correctly by your coach, at the end of the day, you still need to score goals. You're being paid $9 million. I don't know what to tell you. Hard to judge that way. What was Marner's spreadsheet before going to Vegas? On this channel, we are on the Marner wagon. Okay. Do not buy the propaganda from a lot of Leaf fans that Marner did nothing in 9 years for Toronto. That is the biggest crock of shit. This guy in his last 4 to 5 years at Toronto, almost half his time in Toronto, was putting up 100-point seasons. And let a lot of people say, well, what about his playoffs? Well, let me tell you. I still got his playoff numbers here in comparison to Nylander, Tavares, and Matthews. He had more assists than any guy on the team. He had more points per game than any guy on the team. He is 4th all-time in playoff points in franchise history for Toronto. And then he goes to Vegas in his first year from Toronto and puts up a masterclass in the playoffs, getting like 26 points in like 19 games. Guy is incredible. And I do not buy the propaganda. And when they say, well, where was he in games 5 and 6 this year? Where was he in the Cup final? Here's a better question. Where was all of Vegas? Where was all of Vegas? You don't want to say, Marner didn't show up in games 5, 6, 7 for Toronto. He didn't show up in games 5 and 6 for Vegas. You know who else? You know who else didn't show up in games 5, 6, and 7 for Toronto? Literally every single other guy on the Leafs. So no, I do not buy the propaganda. I do not buy it. I'd still take Brady in a heartbeat. Brady next to Jack means things, possibly. I think Ottawa was super snake bitten versus Carolina. Okay, another event incoming. Okay, when people say, "Oh, well, this team was just snake bitten," or "This guy just had a bad year," that cannot be an excuse. It cannot be an excuse. Okay, there are a lot of guys out there that whether they're snake bitten or not, you still have to win. And I understand Ottawa, who barely made the playoffs, and then has to take on like the best team in the Eastern Conference. Guess what? Someone was going to have to play them. If you are a superstar in the NHL, it does not matter whether you are playing the worst team in the NHL or the best team in the NHL. You have to show up and contribute. And if you're not going to, then adios. And that goes because nobody makes this excuse. Nobody makes this excuse for any other guy on New Jersey. Nobody makes this argument for any of our guys. Oh, well, New Jersey was snake bit with injuries. Too bad. Too bad. You have to win. Oh, well, Jack went down and he was injured. Doesn't explain why he was bad the first half of the year. Doesn't explain why he didn't do much before the Chicago cut injury. Oh, well, New Jersey was good. Because, we played Carolina in the first round in the first round 2 years ago and the second round 3 or 4 years ago, okay? Nobody said New Jersey was snake bitten to get Carolina, especially the year when 50% of our guys are down with injuries. So no, snake bitten or not, you have to contribute one way or another. I'm gonna burst along here. Jesus, Stankoven went nuts going to Carolina. Yeah, I mean, and he's had a great time. He's had an excellent time with Carolina, and he's gonna be one of their best players, if not already. He wasn't this impactful in Dallas, and you know what? Sometimes you just need a change in scenery and you pop off, which is what I hope for Mercer. What were Marner's numbers in games 5 to 7? I agree. Not great. What was Matthews' numbers in games 5 to 7? What was Nylander's numbers in games 5 through 7? What was Tavares' numbers in games 5 through 7? What was Riley's numbers through games 5 through 7? Nobody steps up. Toronto had a problem where nobody stepped up. They did not step up games 5 through 7. Nobody showed up. But Marner's the only guy that gets crucified for it. I'm not here for it. Vegas was dead. Carolina was healthy and motivated. If you're not... hold on. Carolina was healthy and motivated. If you're not motivated and you're in the Stanley Cup final, you're in the wrong profession. Adios. Seriously. If you're the Vegas Golden Knights and you were unmotivated in a Cup final, playing for your childhood dreams, you're never going to be motivated. It's over for you. This wasn't on Mitch at all. He was by far their best player in the series. I don't know about in the series. He's definitely up there, especially with that 4-point night, that huge game that he literally almost lost. But Carlson getting hurt was a huge loss. Agreed. Carolina was healthy and fresh. Sure, you have to win regardless. Again, I say this again. Oh, Carolina had time to rest. Carolina was fresh. Vegas had just swept Colorado. Carolina took down Montreal in 5 or 6 games? Vegas had more rest time prior to that series than Carolina did. What's Vegas' excuse? Brady was so good in the playoffs last year. I'm going to throw something. He didn't. Brady is still 7 points in 10 games. Sure. I don't know. My man, Vegas had no gas in the tank. Hold on, I got to clip this. Hold on. My man, Vegas had no gas in the tank. Carolina beat them. I hate Daddy, but they earned it. Hold on. I want to be clear. I'm not saying Carolina didn't earn it. They absolutely did, and you'll never hear me take credit away from Carolina. But you're in the Cup final. This is where you go from a regular player in the NHL to a goddamn superstar. Whether or not you have gas in the tank is irrelevant. You have to bust your ass regardless. I know it's tough love, and I know it's hard to hear sometimes for a lot of guys out there. And don't get me wrong, it's not that I think that guys didn't show up during the Cup final, but you have to do better. You cannot disappear for the last 2 games and one guy called Dorofeyev shows up for you. Carter Hart was garbage. Hot take, I don't think Carter Hart was that bad. I really don't. I understand we're going to say he let in more goals than any goalie in a single series, in a Stanley Cup final than almost any other guy in a Cup final for goaltender. I understand. He lets in 4 goals a game. I get it. Are those goals his fault? Some of them, yes. Some of them, totally on him. Other goals, I'm sorry, I'm not putting the blame on him. I'm putting the blame on his defenseman that sat there lackadaisically, who sat there and basically did nothing. If you're a goaltender who is facing 30 shots a game and your defenseman decide to sit there and not do anything, it is what it is. Torch is an arrogant SOB. He is notorious for burning teams out. Vegas is lucky to get as far as they did. I mean, I agree with you that Torch is an arrogant son of a bitch, but that's why I love Torch. I love that. I love the fact that Torch is an arrogant son of a bitch. When I heard that he was getting fined for not talking to the press after the game, I was like, so based. Those vultures. I can't stand the media in sports. I cannot stand them. And yeah, Torts is an arrogant son of a bitch. But you know what? He's an arrogant son of a bitch who came into Vegas at the end of the season after Vegas had walked off a cliff because Bruce Cassidy had lost every single guy in that locker room that nobody wanted to play for Cassidy. And he came in there and turned them from a team that was going to miss the playoffs into arguably a legit contender. So sure, he is an arrogant SOB, but he's an arrogant SOB who got them to the Cup finals that swept Colorado. So I'll take it. I want Tortorella on New Jersey. I would love Torts on New Jersey. Hart's rebound control is awful in the series. Yeah, I agree. He's got to be better. 100%. When you're letting out all these rebounds and you don't have rebound control, I agree. It's shit. On the other hand, his defense being so sloppy in front of him, also a good point. If you got a goalie that cannot rebound control, your obligation as the defenseman is to clear the puck. Go watch Vegas try to clear a puck. It's awful. It is god awful. They suck. I thought I was watching New Jersey in their own end. Jesus. Vegas went back to looking like they did in the regular season. Yeah, especially the back half. I will say this. While Vegas absolutely shit the bed in the last 2 games of the series, I'll say this. Carolina is a team that will sit there and burn you out. I've often referred to Carolina's offense as a wave. They just keep coming, and the puck, like they cycle the puck. They get a ton of shots on your goaltender. You manage to clear the puck finally, and just like that, they're back in your face again. They just constantly come at you in waves, and they do not let up. So you're sitting there with guys that are on defense that are having to pull like full 2.5 minute shifts because there's no opportunity for Vegas to get off the ice or to make a change because they're constantly like at you. Back to our boys. Sorry, I know he talks a lot about Vegas and Carolina and everything else because it's a good topic. But yeah, back to our boys. What is our identity? What are we? What style wins us a cup? Our identity right now is losers. At the end of the day, that's what we are. Our identity right now is losers who do not play for each other but play for themselves. So there needs to be some sort of, I don't care if it's Meta who does this, I don't care if it's Keith who does this, but there's got to be a thing that says, hey, you look at Carolina, you look at Montreal, those are teams that play for each other, that play as a unit. New Jersey doesn't do that. New Jersey is a collection of guys that play for themselves and sometimes play for 1 or 2 other guys beside them. There needs to be a better idea of, look, we are a total unit, not a bunch of individual players. Second of all, what style wins the cup? Fast and putting pucks on net. New Jersey needs to be posting 30 to 40 shots on net a game. You get 30 to 40 shots a game, you win more than you lose. Full stop. Let Jack rip pucks at the net. Let Brett shoot the puck. Let Meyer have the opportunities he needs to score like he used to. Let the new guys that come in gel and play with these guys, get some chemistry going. Stop juggling the lines every other game. It doesn't help with chemistry. It doesn't help guys gel together. I know they all like each other in the locker room, but they do not play as a unit together. They play as a bunch of individual guys who are trying to score for themselves instead of trying to play for the entirety of the team. That's where I see things. You cannot have games where New Jersey is posting 3 shots a period. Can't happen. You need to get shots on net. And when there is no excuse for this team not to shoot the puck. You have so many shooters. You have so many guys that can score. Shoot the goddamn puck. I love Brat. That's my guy. But is he his own worst enemy for shooting the puck? Absolutely. Absolutely. I am curious what system Keith has them playing. Because if your coach is telling you he wants you to cycle the puck and he wants you to set up passes so you can make these really crafty and nifty plays, then it's possible it's on Keith. It's also possible that Brat just doesn't want to shoot the puck. And he has to. You are in forwards. Your job is to score. If you're not going to score, you can't be here. Brat is one of your core 4 players. This is a guy who everybody else should be looking up to. Him, Jack, Nico, and Meyer. Those 4 guys need to be the identity setters. Those 4 guys need to be the ones that every single other player on the team looks up to. Because if you're not doing your job and you're supposed to be a leader on this team, why should anyone follow you? What I'll tell you right now, Carolina, they follow Jordan Stahl. I believe that Carolina would go off the cliff for Stahl. 100%. I want that kind of energy for New Jersey. I want that for our team. I am so tired of watching our guys get run over by other teams and nobody lifts a finger to help them. Nobody lifts a finger. Gritsuk, he's a step in the right direction. Gritsuk loves his team. He loves the guys on his team. He loves his brothers in the red and black. Go back and watch the games from last year. Somebody stepped to them, Gritsuk was in their face. I want more of that. Stand up for each other. This is not difficult. Okay? It really isn't. I'm dying. Woo, boy. I'm almost out of water here. That's the last of it. All right, we've been going for about an hour 20. We'll probably go for another 20 or so minutes, 20, 30 minutes or so, and we'll call it a night. Oh, Jesus, I am dying over here. Whoo! By the way, big thank you to every single one of you guys that come out. Ryder, Justin, Jay Snow, James. Hold on, I can go through the comments here. I can do this. I had to go back. Hell, even oh God, where is he? Habs, absolutely hockey. Love the fact that you show up, buddy. Really appreciate it. TJ, always great to see you, buddy. Anson, great to see you. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Love that you guys come out. Love that you guys are active in the chat. Love that we are all so passionate about this team. We all want them to win. At the end of the day, disagreements or not, we all want this team to win, and that's the important part. I think Brett needs to change his scenery. I would hold off on that. I think that if New Jersey finishes the same way they did this year, I think everyone's heads should roll. Brat potentially leaves. I think there's even a case that if you get rid of Heischer and Brat and Meyer and this team still can't win, I wouldn't be surprised if 3-4 years down the road, Jack hits the trade block. Would not shock me at all. Hard disagree. Jack needs Brat more than Brat needs scenery. I think they both need each other. I really do. I think that Jack and Brat have that kind of Matthews-Marner situation to them where Brat is definitely his Marner and Matthews is your Jack Hughes. You want those two guys playing together. You want those two guys to gel. You want Brat posting 80 assists a year and Jack Hughes finishing with 45 goals a year. Like that's what you want. Dougie to Toronto was possible. I mean, they were supposed to get him all those years ago, but I don't think Jack needs Brat. It's the other way around. Brat was basically a ghost till Jack came back. I would agree on this year. Jason, I would agree this year. But if you go back the last 3 or 4 years, every time Jack has gotten injured, Brat is easily one of the most consistent guys on this team. And I know with the year that we all just had, it's probably crazy to hear that. But you go back and you take a look at the times where Jack went down, Brat stepped up in a big way. He really did. Matthews is a sniper and Marner was a playmaker. I agree. Brat is a assist master, okay? This guy gets like 40 to 60 assists every year. That is Marner to a T. Jack, we all know, can score. You want Jack to be Matthews. You want Jack to be posting, 40 to 70 goals a season. Obviously, you're probably not going to get, 50 to 70 goals a season, but I think those two are relatively similar. Problem is, Jack and Brad are both playmakers. They need a sniper on that line. I think Jack can do both. I think Jack can rip shots top corner all game long. I think Jack absolutely is a sniper. But I think he can also be the playmaker. He can do both, which is what makes him so versatile. Brad had the most points while Jack was out. Definitely found a goal-scoring job, though. Yeah. I think Brad's easily been one of the most consistent players on this team by far over the last 5 or 6 years. As a Leafs fan, is there any chance I see a cup in my lifetime? NATO, hold on. NATO, around what year, around how old are you? Because it depends. If you're in your 20s and 30s, yeah, you probably will. If you're in your 50s or 60s, no shot. Absolutely no shot. That's not saying much. 29? Yeah, it's totally possible. That's totally NATO. You're only about you're younger than I am. No, I mean we're still young. We're still young. You still got another 40, 50 years of watching the NHL. I'm sure they win a cup in the next 40 to 50 years. Granted, that's what they said the last time they won a cup, and they haven't done it yet. But we'll see. I want to see Timo on the right side, maybe Greg's on the right side too, and put Bratt back on the left if he wants to play playmaker. Yeah, I think Timo needs to be used better. On the other hand, even if Timo isn't being used properly, he still has to score. It has to happen. It can't just be, well, he's being played wrong. Well, you're still being paid $9 million a year. Meier couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. Well, hold on. Is the boat on land? Because if the boat's on land, then sure. Meier, again, I don't want to come down on the, Meier absolutely has to go. But like, you're paying Meier $9 million a year. It's technically 8.8, but I'm rounding up. $9 million a year. Whether he's playing right, left, or center, he has to score. He has to. Like, there's no excuses. He has to score. And I don't want it to constantly be he's just not. No, you have to score eventually. He can hit someone on the boards, though. Lol, he does that right at least. Sometimes he does. Oftentimes he doesn't. It's one of my big gripes with Timo is that, like, he'll lay a hit sometimes, but I don't see him very often, like, leveling guys against the board, which is what I want to see. Like, if we want more physicality, it should start with the guy. It should start with the power forward. Like, I want to see him laying guys out on a nightly basis. Obviously, like, it has to be clean. I don't want him, like, headshotting people, but, like, I don't know. You've got the body for it, Timo. Use it. Like, throw the weight around. How was your weekend, guys? How was your weekend? I hope your guys' weekend was good. Mine was a rainy mess. We had a pretty good turnout tonight, guys. We had a pretty good turnout. Like I said, you guys are awesome for showing up. I really appreciate that, guys. So, here's a question for you guys. Who wins the cup next year? Because the Canes, I think, could maybe not repeat, but definitely still push that Eastern Conference final. Was your mom sad that Mitch didn't win a cup? Yeah, she was pretty upset. She was pretty upset. Like I said, this is a very pro Mitch Marner household. We were cheering for Mitch to win the cup. We really wanted him to win the cup and then to win the Conn Smythe. Like, I was hoping that Marner would win the Stanley Cup and then bring it to Toronto just to shove it down people's throats. I would love to get Tuck, and I don't know if it's Tuck or Tuchel, how you pronounce it. I'm going to say Tuck. And to put him with Timo and Nico, make that a butcher line and put Grits at Jack and Brett and nightmare match for some teams. Yeah, that'd be fire. That would be fire. That'd be great. The Knicks won a championship. It was great. Yeah, I heard Knicks won. How long had they? It was like, what, 20, 30 years between championships? Good for the Knicks. Who's your target for the top 6? Are you talking about in free agency? Because I don't think there's anyone in free agency that's worth going after. I think Florida returns back if fully healthy. Yeah, I feel like Florida is always going to be there as a legit threat in the East. It is what it is. We will see. 53 years. Damn. So they were like the Leafs of the NBA, eh? Okay. Nice. Good for them. Maybe don't burn your city down afterward, but good for the Knicks on winning. Congrats to the Knicks. I know I'm saying congrats to a New York team, but good on them. As a trade, there's a lot of guys. Hold on, I'm gonna go back here. It's really hard to pick out like individual guys while being practical, because there's a lot of guys that I think would make an impact, but just you're not going to get. Like, I don't see us getting Tuck. I don't see us getting Robertson. I'd love William Nylander to come to New Jersey, but Nylander seems like he is going to stay with Toronto long term. Zach Hyman in front of the net's great. I'll do this. For next stream, I will make a list for every single trade target that I think we practically could go after and have a decent chance at going for. Larkin would be cool to have. Be interesting. And say that they were awful my entire life. That's the Leafs. That's the Leafs for me. The city was crazy. Yeah, I was seeing pictures and videos of people lighting school buses on fire and like smashing in the windshields. Like, that's insane behavior. No, the Leafs of basketball are the Sacramento Kings. Haven't won or appeared in a championship since 1951. 70 years of failure. Jesus. Nyes, Eklund. Yeah, I know that everyone wants Eklund. Nyes, I think, is going to Montreal. Kyrou, McTavish, McCann, Larkin. Over, under on Nemeth staying. Okay. I've been clear. I don't think Nemeth should go. In terms of will he go, I'm probably on the over for him leaving. I don't want him to, but I think it's likely that he's gone, which sucks, but nonetheless. I don't know who else is possibly out there. Like, there's so many guys that are out there that I would love to add to New Jersey, but you're not getting any. You're not getting them. New Jersey right now is not a destination that people want to come to. Full stop. New Jersey just finished cratering their hopes and dreams last year. Nobody wants to come here. If they had made the playoffs consistently for the last 5 to 7 years, even if they weren't like the highest success teams, if they were at least making the playoffs consistently, I think more guys would want to come. Under for both Dougie and Nemeth. I'm taking the over. I think the over. I'm going to say this. Personally, I'm on the under for Nemeth and the over on Dougie. Realistically, I think Dougie's the under, Nemeth is the over. I think Nemeth is gone. I think Hamilton is staying. And I'm going to lose my shit. Yeah, the school bus thing was so stupid. It got to be better than that. Like, just don't burn your city down. Like, is that so difficult to ask? Like, round these people up and arrest them. Like, holy crud. Vancouver did the same thing. Back when Vancouver was in the Cup final against Boston, like 10, 15 years ago, when Vancouver lost, they burnt the city down. Over for both Dougie and Nemeth. I wouldn't trade Nemeth. Would you? Hold on, are you asking me if I would trade Nemeth for a top 6? Because I would trade Nemeth for a top 6. I would. Like an actual, like certain, like they're gonna be like the guy, then yeah, I would. But like Our defense has to be addressed. I made a typo. Okay, that's fine. That's a great point. No one's looking to come to New Jersey right now. They haven't proved they can contend. If you look at all the teams, that all of these guys want to go to, who do they want to go to? They want to go to contenders. Vegas, Minnesota, Tampa, Florida. Win cups, be successful, and people will come. Until then, sucks to suck. If they both go, that means it's Casey's turn. I'm not necessarily super mad if the return is worth it. The return has to be super, the return for Nemitz has to be like the thing that busts our ass back into the playoffs again. Anything else, I think, is a bad idea. I think that if you're going to start dumping D-men like Nemitz, but you're going to keep Siegenthaler and Kovacevic, you've lost your mind. You're off. You're outside your goddamn mind. I can't do it. I can't do it. I think Casey gets moved. Yo, I'm gonna lose my shit. I can't, guys. I can't. If we lose Nemitz and Casey, this defense is cooked. The defense is absolutely cooked. If Casey leaves and Nemitz leaves, what you're basically saying is it's on Luke. It's on Luke to fix everything. Detroit breaking their playoff drought next year? Not if Larkin's gone. Unless they get a Larkin or better player, I don't think Detroit makes it. Does Casey even have value right now? You know what would give him value? You know what would give Casey value? If he played in the goddamn NHL. If he played in the NHL and proves he was actually worth it, then yeah, he'd have value. But right now, there shouldn't be anything. They have to shed salary somehow this offseason. Okay, let's take a look at this. Hold on. Let's take a look at this for a second. Okay. The biggest contracts are Timo Meier and Dougie Hamilton. They're getting paid $9 million a year. After that, it's Jack Hughes. You're not getting rid of Jack. Next up is Jester Bratt making $8 million. You're not getting rid of him this year. Maybe they're locked up until 2031. And he has a full no-move clause. And then in 2 to 3 years, guess what? He has a full no-move clause and a 15-team no-trade clause. Okay? After that's Nico Hischier. He's going to get paid $9 to $10 million this year. You're not getting rid of Nico. And then on defense, Hamilton's making $9 million. Luke Hughes is making $9 million. You're obviously not trading Luke Hughes. He's locked up to 2032. Pesci's making 5.5. You get rid of Pesci, I run it. Brendan Dillon's making 4. Your biggest options are Meier and Tino. Those are your options. I would prefer Dougie and keep Meier, but I'm down for both. Casey was awful defensively when we brought him up this season. Yeah, you're not wrong. Casey wasn't the best. But you know what? He's not going to get any better sitting in the AHL. If you want AHL guys to compete at the level of NHL players, they have to play against NHL players. Stick him on a bottom pairing, I do not care. But let him get some action. How much cap space do we have this offseason? As of right now, we're sitting at about... As of right now, we're sitting at $10.9 million in cap space. And my computer is frozen. $10.9 million. That's how much here we have. Casey, Nemitz, and Hamilton. In a perfect world, 2 of the 3 have to stay. I'm okay with 1 of the 3 for a massive haul. Yeah, again, I would keep Casey. Casey is also small. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. But that's what Brendan Dillon was there for. He was supposed to hit people. He doesn't. Out of the three, I think Nemitz and Dougie both are gone. I think Nemitz is more likely to be gone than Dougie. I think it should be the other way around. Once we sign Gritsik, we're going to have like no money left. Gritsik is not getting like $8 million. Gritsik is getting like 4 or 5. I personally think give Gritsik a deal for 4 years, maybe 5 years at $4 million a year. I do not want to see young talent being paid $8-9 million after 1 or 2 years in the NHL. Give them $4 million a year, maybe 4.5, and give them like 4 to 5 year contracts. I do not want to be in the same position we have been, where you've got guys that are given these crazy ass contracts with all of these trade conditions, and then when they don't pan out for us, we're stuck with them. I'm not re-signing Cotter. No, you shouldn't. Cotter can do one thing, and that's it. Cotter can do one thing, and that's it. He can score on a penalty shot. That's all you've got for him. I think it's time. I think it's time Dougie goes. I like, thank you for your service. Shake his hand. Thank you for being the guy that wanted to come to New Jersey. I appreciate everything he's done for the team, but I think it's time to go. I think it's time. I'd sign Cotter for less than $2 million. Sure, he can sit on the fourth line. Like, Cotter doesn't contribute anything except penalty shots. And like maybe New Jersey turns into like the overtime loss or the overtime winner like Merchant and gets a shit ton of points in overtime or in shootout, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't. His hockey IQ is awful. It's not even for me, but his hockey IQ. He just isn't contributing anything on this team besides scoring on penalty shots. All right, folks. My voice is pretty much done. It is cooked. So, I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. And we'll talk. We will talk again at some point. What is today? Monday? Today's Monday? Yeah, today's Monday. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more streams by the end of the week. Again, at this point, it's just a waiting game to see what news comes out. Now that the season is officially over, I think we're all just waiting for that July 1st deadline for all the free agents to sort of pop off and see all the moves and shit like that. But, yeah. Yeah, guys, hit the like. If you guys haven't already liked the video, go ahead and like that. If you're not already subscribed, hit the sub button, do the thing. I appreciate that, Ryder. On that note, guys, take it easy, and I will see you guys in the next one. Adios.